Hey YouTube, Flightsimguy here, and this is my last video in the Colorado series and my last video regarding microjets. As you may recall, I am at Telluride, which is KTEX, 9,000 feet above sea level, and for my last flight, I'm going to pay tributes to the United States Air Force and fly this to Falcon Air Force Base, which has since been renamed to something else. I think it's called Shriver or something. Point is, it's the Air Force Academy. And I forgot to load the flight plan. Let me go ahead and take care of that. Alright, we've got the flight plan loaded. And it's going to be another straightforward flight. Now, here I am at Telluride. Here's where I landed the last time. And as you can see, there's mountains all around, except where I came in, which is right over down there. That's where I came in, and here's the other end of the runway, and as you can see, more mountains. So bit of a risky landing, but made for a more interesting situation. And from the outside, it's showing all the instruments are being on, and it shouldn't be that way. Anyway, I gave myself 60% fuel. I am 10,000 feet up, 9,000 feet up, but this runway is about 7,000. It's a 7,000 foot runway, so that should be more than enough room for me to take off. According to the windsock, the wind is coming in the direction from where I need to take off from, which is good. Either way, I don't think I can take off into that way because I'm way too high. I don't think I'd have enough to climb. So. Alright, let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit and get her going. Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. A little bit of back trim for the takeoff. Get rid of this. Alright, we're good for engine start. Got the flight plan here. Starting. I need to get into the habit of starting the right engine first. I think that's protocol. Parking brake set. Alright, I think I got everything set up. I'll go ahead and enter the runway heading once. And at the runway. A couple things I'll talk about real fast. Last weekend was a lot of fun. That was Flight Angels 2016, and there was about a dozen simmers that were tasked to flying all the legs. And any of you who observed, you know, it was a 48-hour live stream. People were streaming, you know, coming in and out, watching. And during that time, they gave away. They had, you know, giveaways from all the sponsors, a lot of add-ons and stuff. Towards the end, they had an auction of everything in the A2A simulations category, and the winning bid was like $260. And I was thinking, oh my God, why didn't I go in and bid? $260 something for all of A2A's add-on is a freaking steal. It never occurred to me. Maybe it's because I've already spent untold hundreds on so many add-ons. Don't need to be buying anymore. Anyway, so there was that, and I have made a decision. Okay, this is going to be my last episode with the very light jets. I've already demonstrated that they're really easy to fly and very uneventful. I have Captain Sim's 757 and their 767. I'm going to start doing episodes with those larger flights or longer flights. The videos, the episodes will still be the same length, but much more longer flights. And I'll actually be using a checklist going through the entire process. And hopefully at the end of those videos, I'll become very proficient on the jumbos. Also, I've been spending more time with X-Plane, and I have plenty of aviation books that talk about training and whatnot. And it's not an official FAA certified IFR station, but it's running the right software and I have all the right equipment. So I'm going to start doing some actual exercises and training and making videos of those. I don't expect anybody to watch those. They're going to be very boring. But, you know, I want to start using my simulation software and hardware for, you know, real purposes rather than just playing games. I want to actually start doing some training. Alright, runway is 270. Let's go ahead and get that entered. Seven set. This. Alright, let's do one last check of everything. All my lights are on. Turn the landing lights on. It won't be on for long. Alright, I am 9,000 feet up. I'm gonna land with full flaps. I'm sorry, take off with full flaps. Let's see. What's my plan? Let's take a look at the plan. Plan is to go straight out to this VOR station and then just go ahead and take it over those mountains, go towards the Air Force Academy. I have traffic turned on. Hopefully we will see some military planes there at the Air Force Academy. During my time in the Air Force, I never actually got to visit the academy, but I heard it's pretty sweet. It's a little bit disturbing here. It's taking an awful lot of thrust just to get rolling. I reduced my fuel load to 60%. I should be able to take off on this one. It is a full 3,000 feet longer than the last airport I took off from. And looking at that sun, it's going to be about sunset by the time I come into Colorado Springs. Alright, so what we're going to do is put the parking brakes on. Let's come back off the trim a little bit more. Bring the engines up to full. Let's pray I can get this thing into the air by the time I reach the end. Airspeed is not moving. Rotate. Oh shit, that's what I had to land on the last time. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh wow. I knew I had to come into a valley, but damn.
Don't sink.
Shut up. Alright. Throttles to the metal. Let's go ahead and maintain a rate of climb of about 1500 until we went turn on the autopilot. Pilot on, heading. Let's go down a little bit. Maps all the way up. And I can go ahead and switch navigation. There and there. Oh my goodness. I had no idea that's where I landed. I landed at a cliff. Wow. Let's go ahead and I'm already above that altitude. Okay. Alright. So that's... Alright, we're coming up on our first turn. It's a pretty steep turn. It's almost a 180. So I'm going to try and hold a rate of climb. Approaching at maximum speed. So what I can do is lower the climb rate here. Alright, so as you can see, I got the camera on, and what I wanted to show you is this. It's a 3-book series. It's called The Proficient Pilot, and it's by a gentleman by the name of Barry Schiff. That's him on the front right there. And I got this series on Amazon, and this guy has about 25,000 hours. As a commercial airline pilot, he has about 25,000 hours in all sorts of airlines. And what he did was, I guess in retirement, he got bored, and he did essentially a brain dump of everything he knows about aviation into the 3-book series. And I bought this on Amazon, and you're probably thinking, oh, I don't like reading, I like to fly, and everything, blah, 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 blah. Well, flight simulation is great, but it's still a game. And you can't simulate, or you can't, stuff that's happened to him is just out of this world. And he did a brain dump of everything he's learned. And I've read all 3 of his books back and forth. And let me tell you, it's easy reading, funny, made so that it's very, very easy for everyone to understand. And in here, there is a chapter on complacency, chapter 50. Page 267. Once I'm settled in the climb, I'm going to go ahead and read you the first few paragraphs from that chapter. As you may recall, at the end of my last episode, I left the landing lights on, and while I was turning it off, I made mention of the fact that it wasn't as bad as leaving the engines running. I also mentioned that something like that could happen, and has happened. What I want to do is take a moment to read to you a little bit from The Proficient Pilot, Volume 3, Flying Wisdom, Pilot Barry Schiff, page 267, Chapter 50, on the title called Complacency. One job of an airline captain is to supervise his first officer, who often is regarded as a captain in training. The less experienced the co-pilot, the more alert the captain must be. On one particular flight, my first officer was a captain who had recently opted to move from the left seat of a McDonnell Douglas MD-80 to the right seat of a Lockheed L-1011. He gave up being a junior captain to improve the working conditions he would have as a senior first officer. Flying with a captain in the right seat of my airplane would make this flight more relaxing because there would be little or no supervision required. Larry, I said, it's your leg. You fly to New York, and I'll fly the return leg tomorrow night. We landed in New York after an uneventful red-eye from Los Angeles and pulled into the gate. Larry shut down the engines and called for the checklist. It had been another routine flight. They should all be so pleasant, I thought. Minutes later, we were standing in front of the terminal building, waiting for the hotel van. One of our flight attendants waiting with us walked over to me and asked, "It's not even 6 o'clock. Why are they running the engine so early in the morning?" I shrugged, not paying any attention to the screaming turbine. One advantage to the hearing loss caused by years of flying is that loud noises are not as annoying as they used to be. My flight engineer overheard the question and began a slow walk towards our airplane, which you could see parked nearby and on the other side of the chain link fence. He spun around and yelled while pointing to the TriStar, "It's our plane! We left an engine running!" So we ran madly into the terminal building where, you guessed it, we were delayed by a security check. By the time we reached the jetway, we could hear the engine winding down. A mechanic walking out wearing a sadistic grin said, "You guys forget something? How could this happen? It's easy when you think about it. My first officer, an MD-80 pilot, was accustomed to shutting down 2 engines, not 3. And this is exactly what he did. Second, the checklist does not require us to verify that the engines have been shut down at the end of the flight. After all, what kind of idiot needs to be reminded of that? Third, we cannot hear an engine from the flight deck of an L-1011, or most other jetliners. If the sound of an engine were to attract our attention while deplaning, we probably would have taken it for granted and attributed the noise to the aircraft parked nearby." Now, the whole point of this episode is, making stupid mistakes like leaving the lights on. Well, it could be a lot worse. And this is the kind of stuff that you get from the Proficient Pilot series by Barry Schiff. And that's the reason why I keep pitching it. It's very, very good reading. And it's a deal, or a steal, at only $40-something for all 3 books. And getting all the lessons from a lifetime pilot with over 27,000 hours of flight. Well, if you're a sim pilot, this is all good stuff. Highly recommended. Alright, so we're going to the United States Air Force Academy. That is the Air Force's version of West Point and Annapolis. That's where the Air Force gets about a third of their officers. Most of their officers come from ROTC, and a handful comes from Officer Training School. That's where I got my commission from, Maxwell Air Force Base Officer Training School. And what it's kind of like an officer and a gentleman with Richard Gere, except we didn't get to go off base during the second week and have sex with pretty girls. It really doesn't work that way. Now, the Air Force gets most of their officers from ROTC and from the academies, and based on their staffing situation, they'll either up the number of seats available for Officer Training School or reduce it. So, instant officer, add water and stir. Best time ever. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Alright, we got clouds here. Alright. Set de-icing systems on. It's a bad habit of mine. I'm always turning on anti-icing systems when the clouds. Don't have to worry about that with the tube liners. They travel so fast. That's just no time to Alright, there's what is this? Lockheed Martin C-130 coming in. That's an Air Force plane. That's good to see. I'm not seeing any runway lights. Usually you can see runway lights from miles away. 1-notch flaps. And I'm sticking to my rule. I'm not going to give it any gear until I see the runway. Shut up! Passing right over it. Alright, I'm gonna cheat. I wouldn't normally do this, but flaps up. World. I'm sorry, but the curiosity is killing me. I don't have much of a choice. I have to do this because it wasn't showing up. I have to see what the simulator is showing for the Academy Airport. That's the way to play. Okay, alright, so not landing at night because there's no lights there. I'm at the pattern altitude. Let's just go ahead and come right or left. So let's come left, please. Alright, so I didn't want to have to cheat, but I have no choice. The Academy runway is going to have any lights. Upwind, let's go ahead and make a 90-degree turn. And downwind. Yep, wasted a lot of gas, a lot of time, and a lot of hard disk space on this final episode of the Colorado series. Alright. Rule of thumb, when the airport is over your shoulder, you can make your turn to final, gas, 1-notch flaps, get a little bit of a bounce, lead off some airspeed, trim down. It's going to stop bugging me out. Goes. Yes. It's only making that noise because I'm this slow and this close to the ground and I don't have my gear down. Alright. Making my left turn. Base. Airspeed. Right. Slow 10 to 50-degree turn. Rudder.
Sink rate, 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 pull up, sink rate, sink rate.
Flaps, spoilers, should have spoilers and flaps out at the same time.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. 500.
Up. flaps up. Yep, I thought all airports in FSX had lights. I guess they all don't. You know, it's funny, is it the Academy? Yeah. No, it's undergraduate UPT, undergraduate pilot training, which I think is at one of the Air Force bases in Texas. They used to train their pilots in the T-37 Tweet, which is a small twin-engine jet side-by-side, and they've since switched to a T-6 Texan or some other single-engine turboprop. That's what they teach all the first year of pilot training, and from there you go to the T-38 if you're gonna fly fighters, and then to the others or whatever school, depending on what kind of plane you're gonna fly. Anyhow, my point is the T-37s, they've been retired for about maybe I'd say about 10 years now, and when the Air Force retired them, they just flew them off to the boneyard, wrapped them up in plastic, and sat them out there, you know, in the desert to just sit there. And I'm thinking, what the hell? These are perfectly good twin-engine planes. I'd love to get one of those. To the best of my knowledge, there's only about 2 or 3 T-38s that are privately owned. The rest of them are in storage in the desert. Why they're being stored, I have no idea. They've reached the end of their service life. They don't have any combat capabilities. There's nothing on them that's classified. So the Air Force, in my opinion, should go ahead and auction them off, but whatever. Alright, FSX was a good boy today. Didn't crash on me. I don't see any other traffic here. Let me go ahead and park and get a replay. Alright, let's go ahead and run through the shutdown. Let's go ahead and kill all the lights. That. These lights off. Flaps up. Flaps in. These off. Systems. And the engines. Right. This is a bug in the system. I'm not sure why. But when I do that, it's supposed to go off. Nice experience. It's a very, very good little plane. Award-winning. Thank you very much, Flight 1, for... the guy's head is moving and his eyes are blinking. That is so creepy. Oh, well. Thank you very much, Flight 1, for fixing my Mustang in Steam. Very, very good plane. To be totally honest, I prefer this aircraft to the Embraer Phenom 100 or 300. And compared to the Cessna Citation X, I have to say I'll have to go with the Citation X. It's a little bit more fun to fly, but this all around is a very, very good add-on, and I like it a lot. Having said that, I've done about 10 episodes with microjets. I'm a little bit tired of them. Now it's time to move on to stuff that's a little bit more complex. So my next flights, the big ones that I'm going to be doing on weekends, will be in Captain Sim's 757 and or 767. And here and there, I'll sprinkle in some Embraers, E170s, and the ERJ 145. And in between those, I'll be flying X-Plane. And I think that's all I have for now. Hope you enjoyed the series. Flightsimguy here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.